Yeah. Black
That,
Phoenix Podcast, MCTR. Thank y'all for hanging out. What's good, TR?
hey, I'm feeling good.
Give me a hell yeah. I said, give me a hell yeah.
Hell yeah! So, yeah, a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of things to discuss. Hope everyone had a good Memorial Day. I know it's one of those few days in the year that people can take time off, though. So, hopefully, you enjoyed it.
Yeah, and if you Google, Apple, Spotify, PayPal, they all had data breaches. One of the biggest data breaches in US history. So change your passwords, get your two-factor authentication turned on, take care of your accounts. Because it's
Wait,
bad
what
right
did
now.
you say?
Nothing to
What did
say.
you say? Who had a data breach?
One of the worst data breaches in US history. Here, let me post the article because we this
When did
this
this
was
happen?
this was just 2 days ago.
Oh man,
184 million passwords compromised. New York Post ran with it first. Everybody else is starting to rock out with it now. But yeah, it's tough out here right now. Protect your accounts. Protect all your
man. See, this is why we need to
accounts.
get a sponsor so we can start promoting
I'm posting
some of these
right. Yep.
data
That's right there.
these password protectors. That's terrible. Oh wait, you posted in the wrong area. MC.
Oh no, I want to share it with the public.
Oh, okay, all right. Well,
Yeah, it's
anyways,
just yeah.
now I believe you. That's bad. That's terrible.
Yep, I wanted to share that with the public.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That's yeah, that's terrible. But
Change
you
all
know,
your
for
passwords, man. Protect yourself.
yeah, I use a password manager. I'm not gonna shout them out though, because they ain't paying us. But yeah, I use a password manager for all my stuff, and it's been pretty good. I pay them, so that's why they don't pay me to promote them. But definitely get a password manager. There's a lot of them out there, so it definitely help. So
Absolutely.
all all right, we are going to get into
Yeah.
the first topic. We're going to talk about a very serious situation. We like to be serious around here, considering it's a family show as well too. We are going to talk about a situation with President Macron, President of France, I believe. Is that right, MC?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. So we're gonna be reviewing this and what took place. So roll it.
President Macron has had to play down an incident in which his wife appeared to push him in the face. The couple were arriving in Vietnam for a tour of Southeast Asia. As you can see from these pictures here, Mr. Macron said that he and his wife Brigitte were just horsing around, suggesting the incident had been overblown as some sort of geoplanetary catastrophe. All right, let's bring in our Europe correspondent, Adam Parsons, for more on this. Adam, look, it is great to have you here with this. And despite the sort of hyperbolic language they're used by Macron to play this down, that footage is going to be played on repeat until we hear from him again.
It probably will be. Yeah, I mean, social media is one of those places where Emmanuel Macron pops up every now and then because there are a lot of haters out there who really, really don't like him and sees on every opportunity to portray him as either an idiot or a villain or some sort of ne'er-do-well. So previously, there's not an awful lot that we can say for sure. She pushes him in the face. Is that because she's angry? Is that because she is, I don't know, trying to take an eyelash out of his face? Then as they come down the stairs, certainly she seems as if she's not very happy about something. He extends his arm as if to offer her support, and she ignores that.
All right, I'm going to stop it right there. So we pretty much got the gist of it. Ultimately, you you can't win out here. You just can't win. The French president catching wreck, Obama catching wreck. Like just because you got status doesn't mean your woman will not show out. Like if anything, she's more likely to act a fool. And it's unfortunate for this guy though, because well, there's a couple of things with the Macron. So I'm gonna try to keep it on the DV portion. But yeah, she pushed him in his face and refused to take his arm. And most people would say that's kind of some type of emotional abuse. But I know how people like to flip that when it comes to men.
Yeah, no doubt. And one of the things with marriage is everybody is looking at how strong your marriage is, especially when you're a public figure like the president of France. I don't know any couples that play around with stiff arms to the face. Like, what kind of plan is that? Like, they she basically did a Heisman on that dude. I don't know where that's coming from. And then I don't know if the whole video in its entirety is available, but you can see they're not really rocking with each other in terms of the physical touch piece. Now I get some couples aren't as affectionate as other couples, but there's a difference between that and I don't even want to be in your space right now. There's multiple videos of them and where it appears they don't like to be around each other. So people are going to pick up on that and they're going to see it and they're going to poke at it. But as the leader of a country, uh, yeah, you kind of want your family to be on one accord because you got other battles that you need to fight. You don't want to put that in the front burner while you're dealing with world crises and economies and other politicians, etc. But this ain't a good look, man. It's not a good look at all.
You know what's funny? So there's a whole thing about Macron's wife. Wife, like I said. This thing went viral with Candace Owens. She jumped into this and she pretty much got censored on YouTube for bringing this up, and then whatever the French government tried to do. I think they tried to do some other stuff. But with Macron, he started. Apparently, this was his teacher when he was a kid. So at some point, some type of relationship started, and his wife is allegedly like in her 70s or something, and he's like 47. So I don't hear a lot of people talking about the age gaps. I don't hear a lot of people talking about the domestic violence. I mean, you ninjas will come out here and cape for Cassie, but you quiet on Macron. Like this dude straight up, if this was flip phone, the guy did this same thing, he is definitely. I mean, Dana White caught a lot of heat. I mean, it went away, but he caught a lead when he smacked his wife, and when they were at the club, for I don't know what the reason was. He said something, I don't know, she was acting up or something. But point is, he caught smoke for that. But Macron, he visibly got this is what they would call this an assault. And everyone's trying to, figure out like, oh, what's going on? If it was an eyelash or something. Like a lot of excuses start showing up when it's the wife, though. But I know somebody that definitely can't get away with this is Trump. Like, let's have been Melania acting a fool with Trump in public. They're going to be saying everything about Trump.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought up the age gap. I was going to bring that up because nobody seems to care unless it's the other way around, unless it's a
Mhm.
very older man dating a younger woman. But 25 years, you dating a former teacher. Me personally, I don't understand what the attraction is. I don't know why he sticks around because, like I said, there's been evidence of stuff like this before that they don't really rock with each other like that. It almost makes you wonder if it's a convenience thing at this point, but I try not to dig too deep into other folks' marriages. But man, this and you talked about the censorship earlier. That's a lot more common in Europe than it is in the United States, even though it's becoming a problem in the United States. But they have no problem censoring people that have unfavorable comments or criticisms of political figures. We
Yeah.
specifically see that a lot in the UK. So they're going to try to cover this up because you can. A lot of people might view it as a weakness in your leadership. Your house ain't even in order, but you're trying to run the rest of the country.
Yeah. I'll say, another thing that I found out about France, because obviously they have like a bias towards men. Another thing that I found out about France is that they don't do DNA tests when it comes to like trying to figure out paternity, or they don't do paternity tests. And so they went away with that. I don't know when they did that. I was trying to look that up though, but I thought it was really weird that why would you not do paternity tests to figure out who the father is? And that just tells me like a lot of these countries, when it comes to like discussing paternity fraud, as well as when it comes to domestic violence. And I know the United States is definitely can be thrown in there as well too. At least they have paternity tests. But some of these other countries, and like I said with France, they don't allow DNA tests. They really like pretty much been. I mean, the men are just at a very submissive position over in France. I was like, y'all can't tell us Americans how to do anything because you could be raising somebody else's other kid, or you could just your woman could straight up just smack you. And for the most part, I mean, I think that happens in the US too, but no one's really going to do anything over there in France. I mean, you have a conservative idea, they knocking down the door. Your girl smacks you up, ain't nobody, everybody's just laughing. Everybody's like, well, boys will be boys type of conversation though. But the problem is like I said, they have like these laws and these attitudes that are just very negative towards men, that, these things weren't around, 50 years ago. And now we're seeing like how DV is acceptable on TV versus, or on the screen, versus like when DV is, or what forms of DV is acceptable and which forms are not acceptable.
Yeah, check the private chat real quick, TR. And while you're doing that, I'm gonna just throw this out there. I'm gonna shift the conversation a little bit away from that marriage while keeping it on subject. So a lot of times we talk about DV, particularly when it's the woman on the man. A lot of people just keep it in the physical space. But what I'm here to tell you is a lot of women DV men, like mentally and verbally as well too. Like you got to consider stuff like that. Ultimately, a wife, in my opinion, now mind you, I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to marriage. She should be speaking life into your mission and your plan and your goals, because stuff like that matters. When I see stuff like this, the stiff arm in the face, they're not walking together, the clear attention when they're standing pretty close to each other, it brings up a lot of different questions, and a lot of people assess a man's character on how he treats his wife and his family, or his relationship with his wife and his family. So this could go against him when it comes to negotiating with other countries that take marriage more seriously. Because remember, we're westernized countries at the end of the day, and our standards for marriage continue to deteriorate. But when you're dealing with somebody in the East, that might not necessarily be the case.
Yeah. And then also you got to worry about some of those Eastern ideas coming over to the Western, which is hard to believe that, we could go a whole nother level when it comes to wokeism or feminism. Like there's a whole nother level to this stuff. And so I think you mentioned earlier where you could be arrested for saying the wrong things on social media, saying the wrong things in public, and everybody's going to, vilify you, but they got all these other issues going on. So yeah, we definitely don't want to be like some of these other countries. I know people love that. Oh, they got, free medical insurance or something. Like, well, you're taxed up to 50%, and then you're gonna have to wait like almost 6 to 12 months to go see a doctor just for a checkup. So if that's worth it, then be my guest. So
Yeah, meanwhile, 5 of my Canadian coworkers are here in the United States right now seeking medical treatment because the waits are too long
geez.
for some particular screenings that they need in relation to pregnancy risk. But I'm not going to air their business out, but it's not always sweet on the other side like that.
Right. Yeah. So all right, we're gonna jump to the next topic, and give me just a sec to get this queued up here. Let's see. MC, you want to entertain the people for a moment?
Yeah, put me on the spot like that, TR. Hey, while we doing that, I'm gonna just say something real quick because we read the comments. TR's probably more on it than I am, but lately I've been on it a little bit, and I'm here to tell y'all, there's nothing you can say to me about my blackness and about my views and how they relate to each other. Like the audacity of some of y'all to think that like a stranger who I don't even know is going to affect me in some way is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know what's wrong with y'all, man. It's wild to me, but I'm gonna have fun doing this like we been.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of things I've learned about when you do social media. Is that the majority of the people that are going to dislike you or have smoke for you are probably going to be men, and I didn't even realize that, but it's definitely going to be men. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, you got to have a thick skin to get on social media. So it is.
What's
what it
that
is.
saying? If you piss somebody off, you must be doing something right.
Yeah, that's just definitely true too. Here, almost done here. Sorry, I'm getting the banner set up here.
Yeah, this is when you do it live, you gotta adjust like this. But I promise y'all, we gonna get better week after week. We learning this game, we cooking. We gonna keep bringing y'all the stuff how it's supposed to be brought to you. It's gonna be unfiltered. We're gonna look at it from both sides. But yeah, we're not gonna put any emotions into any of this stuff either, which I think a lot of men feel when they do that.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to be talking about a topic called deadbeat dads aren't always deadbeats. So, let me get this queued up here.
Let's do it.
Whoops. There we go.
I advise you, bro. Go hear your dad's side.
Right, hold on. There's something going on here.
Yeah, just pull it up again. It should work. All right, so while TR is working on that, just a reminder: if you rocking with us, go ahead and hit that like button.
I got
Go
it.
ahead and subscribe. Check us out. We want to. There's multiple other things we want to do, but we want to grow this thing out first and develop our core audience because we eventually we're going to expand into having conversations with other people. But we got to grow first.
Be real, bro. As a man, bro, I advise you, bro, go hear your dad's side of the story. I'm not saying he couldn't be fucked up. I'm not saying he couldn't have left you for no reason. I'm not saying that he couldn't have been a bad person. He couldn't have made a mistake. None of that. But I advise you just go hear his side of the story and decide from there. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I hear this happen so often, and like it kind of fucked me up every time I'm hearing it, cause it's like it's fucked up. But it'll be a dude he want to be in his kid life, like he want to be an active father. And you got a baby mom for whatever reason. Maybe she petty about the new girl, trying to teach him a lesson, trying to use it as an opportunity to get more money. Or she could just be a bad person and she kind of used the kid as leverage against the dude, trying to control him. And he got to say and do everything she want, or she gonna take the kid away from him. And I get what y'all saying. Go to court, go to court, go to court. Go look at the percentages on that. And a lot of dudes, it's not even that they don't want to pay child support. They just don't want to give her the money. They don't mind spending a bag on their kids. They just don't want to give you the money. All I'm saying, it's a lot of dudes out there. If you was to go sit down, and I'm talking about have a good conversation with your pops, bro, you wouldn't even be mad at bro no more.
Yikes. Wow. MC, you want to take a stab at this?
Yeah. So when I first heard this video, so this is an accountability thing, right? You essentially you have a kid that's suffering because the mother and the father don't have a functional, healthy relationship. And when I say relationship, they don't even have to be together, but they should at least be cordial when it comes to matters of the children, right? But it starts here at the root of it, and I'll go back to the Kevin Samuels theory. Men control access to relationships and marriage. Women control access to sex and intimacy. You can't have a child without having sex intimacy. So this woman consented to let you enter her, and somehow y'all ended up with this baby, right? I'm not letting the men off the hook. I'm just starting with the women because I know for a fact, and TRU and I both know men who are they're good men. They provide to the greatest of their extent. They pay child support and they continue to be extorted and they leverage the system that's teamed up with them to form this great big superpower to kind of beat these men into submission, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. So that's obviously something that's going to be a problem for a lot of people, right? And then on the men's side, I talk about this all the time to the point where you're probably sick of hearing this, but man, we got to be more responsible on who we spending our time with. We got to vet these women out better. A lot of them are crazy and they don't deserve to be mothers if I'm being honest, but we make them mothers anyway. A lot of them don't deserve a man in their life, but y'all still give them time. So, you know, there's some equal accountability here on both sides, but he's telling the truth at the end of the day. A lot of men are being extorted. Child support is supposed to be for deadbeats. It's not supposed to be a manipulation tool, and it shouldn't be applied to dads who are actually active all the time. But hey, what do I know?
Yeah, this has been going on, I want to say, since we were growing up, and it still goes on. Like, not one thing has changed. Men actually have more access to this type of information, these types of stories. And sometimes you gotta have to, jump out to, or you have to, go out on your own and look for the information. A lot of times, if people grow up with both their parents, they'll just never understand it, or it'll never come up their algorithm. So, unfortunately for a lot of these men, trying to tell these young men to listen to your dad's side of the story, it's already damaged. It's possibly you can have a relationship down the road, but when things have been weaponized against you, such as like the state, as well as your visitation, as well as just trying to have a conversation with your kid about you're trying to be active in their life, it ain't going to matter. Because if you do all those things, they can still resent you, still hate you, still say like they're always going to choose mom in most cases. Most kids choose their mom anyways. So when it comes to like the dad, you're just kind of SOL. It's kind of almost like you're across the bear, because you didn't marry the mother And this could be a a divorce situation too, but most of the time, especially in our community, we end up having a high single parent rate, and people know this is a bad thing. People know this is you cannot be knocking up the women, but unfortunately, men still do. A small percentage of the men still do it. Small percentage of black men still do it. Most black men don't even have kids, and so you still have a small percentage of the men that end up setting like these terrible stories regarding like men being active in their kids' lives or men trying to be in their kids' lives. And we hear all these stories, but one time we hear a story where a mom is being held accountable, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times, is when a judge was like, you are actively getting in the way of the father seeing his kid. We're going to throw you in jail for 30 days. Like that's the only, I've only seen it happen a couple times. So
You
it's
got
really
that robot thing going on with your audio.
What's that? You good? You good? MC, you there? All right. This is this is what happens when you do it live. All right, MC freezing up here.
Yeah, that's ironic because we both doing that right now, but at least I can hear you. So you said a lot there, but one thing I do want to go back to, you mentioned that hold on, check. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. We're good.
I'm talking right now. Can you hear me, TR? Okay, I just want to make sure. Sorry, y'all, we working through some audio issues. One thing you called out earlier is the majority of men don't have kids at all. So a lot of us are exempt from this conversation, and I'm exempt too because I'm married to my child's mother. But a lot of people are not exempt, and those are the ones that we're kind of talking about right now. And again, this is a situation where they're not the majority, but they have the loudest voices. And we have this this stereotype well, it's not a stereotype because it's true. We have the highest rate of children born out of wedlock or without the mother and the father in the same house, even though statistically speaking, we've proven on previous episodes that black men are the most active fathers, but we don't live in the same house as our children generally, which means something. And that's to be considered. But again, I'm going to go back to the men and say, raise your standards on these women. Like typically speaking, if a woman has a behavior that's not in favor with you, she's going to give you the signals of it. You're going to see how she acts. It could be what she says. It could be the relationships that she's around. I saw a video of a guy earlier today. He met this lady and they were clicking very well. But when he met her family, he said, I can't do this because her family was all women who have never been married and who never had a functional relationship with a man. So he automatically, it kind of sucks. I see why he did it. He didn't give her the chance to prove anything, but in his mind, he was like, okay, you are coming from a family that's probably it's going to end up being bad for me because none of you know how to deal with men. And I think that's ultimately what this comes back to, right? Like these men need to be more picky and more selective and set higher standards on these women that they're giving these seeds to. The women are going to be more emotional. They're going to take advantage of the resources that are available. So that comes with their, but we got to be wise enough to know a bad deal when we see it. And that's why I always say, I realize my marriage is great, but I realize in general marriage is not favorable for a lot of men. It's just a bad deal. And so it's having children with somebody.
Yeah, I don't know what has to change, what men. I think all the information is definitely out there. I think for a lot of men, I think they're kind of cooked because if you select the wrong woman, you're gonna get, the whole system is against you at that point. And so I feel like when it came to like people that they want those parents, like when it comes to like just normal people, I'm not talking about like politicians. And honestly, I think most politicians are married and they haven't been divorced and they have kids. So and there's some other cultures out there like the Indian culture. But when it comes to like just what men can do, what men need to do, I don't know. I don't think they're going to be able to do anything, honestly. Like I'm trying to give like a good answer here or, be, feel good, but I don't think there is an answer for this other than men just kind of have to step away from the whole marriage scene until they get into a position where they can, um, well, it doesn't impact them as much, or they select someone who has much to lose as you do, because a lot of times men are generally, generally will make the most money. Well, not as much as today as it used to be, like 20 years ago. Now women are a little par or on par with that. But I'm telling you, man, like men are just kind of like just kind of SOL, because when your kids are involved with it, you've given up so much leverage there. And so those leverage that your kids, that's the one thing that they know that they can use against men. It is, if it was such a problem, if this was like really a big deal, if men really wanted to change this, matter of fact, if women wanted to change it too, because that impacts their sons' lives or their brothers' lives or their families. If women wanted to change this, they would definitely, men and women would advocate for changes in the divorce as well as the child custody laws. No one's really doing that. I mean, there might be like a state here and there, but by the time the states catch up, there have been probably over hundreds of thousands of men that have already caught wreck through the system. And so that just destroys a generation right there. So you might as well throw the whole millennials out. And the next generation coming up, I don't think they're really having kids like that anyways. So this probably actually might fix itself. It might just be the trash men that are just kind of messing up things, and the trash men and women that are messing up things. But as far as marriage, I think it's not going to be having a complete family. I think that's just going to be something that's just not attainable for most people. And we're already seeing a decline in African American or Black American births in the United States. So there's something going on where there's not as many people having kids, as there's not as many people that are having as many kids as well too, because we're seeing people having kids in their late 30s and 40s. So most cases, that's just one kid. So you're not going to be able to have multiple kids. And, you probably won't be able to get a divorce, or you probably won't want a divorce because you just had your kid in your 40s. So you guys are going to definitely be together long. So, that might take you all the way to your, 60s and 70s. And hopefully, somebody, in that case, somebody probably has already passed away or about to pass away. So I don't know. I think that's the only thing that can definitely change things, but that's terrible for America, because then, the birth rate declines. So there really isn't like a feel good answer here. This is just men just have to operate a little bit differently. And even if you try to be the best father in the world, and we've heard of stories of fathers just doing everything that they can, it doesn't matter, because until the laws change, you're always going to have to fight an uphill battle. We know people that have spent thousands of dollars trying to see their kids, and it doesn't work, or the system or the courts say, hey, you didn't do enough. Sorry, you're not going to get your kid on full. We're not doing 50-50 custody. It just isn't there. And the, attorneys are incentivized to like be against you as well too.
Yeah, one thing I will disagree on, when it comes to the male-female dynamic and the family dynamic, I think the market will eventually correct itself. I look at it as the same way as I do a market. It'll correct itself eventually. This is going to take a very long time, mind you, but I look at Texas, for example, and I just looked this up. Texas has an income cap on child support. It's like $9,200 a month. That's the maximum amount that you can be capped for your income for child support. And there are conversations in other red states where, things like this are being considered, because ultimately, and even rolling up to Trump, he's trying to push narratives to get people to have more children. Well, you touched on a lot of the reasons why a lot of men are like, nah, I think I'm going to sit this one out. Right. But I think some of these things will start to get addressed. You're going to see lower caps for child support, lower income caps for child support. I think mandatory DNA testing, we talked about that in the previous episode, is going to be a requirement, and that's going to make people's heads explode, because I've seen studies that say there's just up to 1/3 of children have the wrong father on their birth certificate. So that's another conversation. So I do think there will be small corrections at some point, because if you're trying to pass legislation to encourage people to have more kids, you have to deal with these issues that we're talking about right here. And until you do, it's going to be a continuous cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, they definitely got to start pushing the child support cap, but I would love to see the child support cap put into tiers, because up to $9,000 is still a lot of money. You can still get, most men, are not going to be, near that number, but they're still going to have to, it's a start in the right direction. But ultimately, like I said, it's just moving too slow. These things just move way too slow, and it's just not a very popular position. And you would think a lot of women would actually come out here. I mean, if you want to get the vote for men, I meant to put that on our list of topics, talk about how Democrats are trying to get men back into the back into their party. But maybe we'll cover that next week. But that's one way, is to figure out these child support laws
next week.
Yeah, figure out these child support laws, figure out these how marriage laws need to be changed, and have some marriage reform. And you can definitely get men back, because right now the system's 100% against. Well, I won't say 100%, because Texas, for example, and then we have the I guess it was South Carolina or North Carolina have those the cheating law, like if you cheat on your spouse.
The homebreaker laws.
Yeah, the homebreaker law. Yeah. So yeah, there's a conversation to be discussed there, though. But hopefully, something does change. But yeah, men, this is what's waiting for you. So if you pick wrong, this is what's waiting for your whole system. And a lot of these men, they don't even find this stuff out until they get a divorce. So that's why a lot of them are just, I don't need to worry about that. All right, dude. I mean, go 10 years. I don't know that many people that have gone 10 years in marriage. So go 10 years, and then we'll figure it, and then we'll see where you look alike. Otherwise, enjoy the divorce process.
Yeah, good luck, man. It's a cold game out here.
Cold game. All right. I am going to leave real quick. MC, you're gonna have to turn the peep. I want to make sure my audio is set up correctly. So I'll be right back.
Yep. All right, y'all rolling with me solo dolo until TR comes back. I'll be working out some audio issues. So again, going back to this whole child support thing, I realize a lot of fellas are being extorted. You have unfavorable circumstances. And honestly, we really don't even have a lot of resources, right? I'm quite familiar with a lot of people, good men, who are doing everything that they're supposed to do. And they still got to, they pay this child support. The woman continues to extort them because they don't think the child support is enough. They have complete dictatorship over visitation, and the men struggle with that, finding the proper time. It's a cold game, man, but this is just me, and I am conservative when it comes to family matters. Not every topic, but I think when it comes to family, you're really you're in the best position when you put your child and yourself and the other parent all in the same house. Because if they're all in the same house, they should be getting that mix of the tough love and the nurturing and the building up. You need all of that combined together. And it's not the same if it's in separate houses. I'm sorry, it's not. Unless y'all seeing each other every day, it's not the same.
Yo, all right, are we good? Do I sound
yeah. You sound much better now.
Yeah. I have the Ethernet, the line connected, but it switches me to Wi-Fi every now and then. I don't know why it does that. So, all right,
that's what has happened.
Yeah, all right. We're gonna switch to the next topic. We're gonna be talking about white liberals, and so this is a fascinating conversation that took place. In my opinion, when it comes to there we go. So a lot of times when it comes to when we have white liberals, and then there's white liberals, black liberals, and there's progressives. So for me, I kind of lump them all in together, except for the progressives, because there's the Democrats, and then there's the liberals, and then there's progressives. And so when I'm trying to discuss things with white liberals, or when I talk about liberals, I will specifically go after conversation with white liberals, though, because I only see white liberals leveraging black people or Mexicans or people that are non-white for some, for whatever agenda they're trying to push through. So if you're rainbow, I am only seeing white liberals doing stuff like this. Now, black liberals, they don't do it as much, but then sometimes they will stand behind the white liberal having the conversation, but they're not the ones actually promoting it. And so you have to watch out for stuff like that, though, because a lot of times they try to say we're all on the same accord, and you're really not. This is part of the reason why Democrats lost the vote, or Kamala lost for a lot of reasons. This is one of the reasons why she lost, though, because she had a different. She didn't have like a strong message for like men in general, and then it really didn't resonate with black men. And so she definitely lost a lot of people, though. But when it comes to like some of these social programs or these social agendas, the people I see it doing the most is white liberals. MC.
I would say white women liberals are doing the most by far, and it's not even close. I mean, historically speaking, if we want to make this racial, you know what? Screw it. Let's make it racial. The women's suffrage movement was based off of jealousy that white women had for black men because we, technically speaking, got the right to vote first, right?
Mhm.
So the feminist movement comes in, it destroys the black family. Then you got the whole Planned Parenthood child deletion narrative, which black people lead the league in deletions. That's not even close. And if you look into the roots of Margaret Sanger and the Planned Parenthood adjacent folks, so I'm agreeing with you, but I'm just providing a couple of different examples there. But if you, anytime you look at this rift that's between black men and black women, there wasn't always this rift. But if you look back to the root causes of it, you're probably going to see some liberals who putting batteries in our backs and we're getting charged up and emotional and illogical about it. Now, I don't know if you want to play the video now because I want to speak specifically to the topic before I move
Yeah.
on. So okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
So this is Anna Conspiracy, okay, and hell of a thumbnail.
Yeah.
She actually is a, I don't know what she calls herself. Like she's definitely a Democrat voter, but she has had every reason to not vote for the Democrats or have a problem with Democrats. And every now and then she does have the conversation about Democrats. But she's one of the few people actually having this conversation about what white liberals are doing. And I think this is a story that's in California, how they're trying to lower the education standards, which is not really anything new because that's been occurring in other places across the country, especially, specifically the Democratic led states, though. I want to say either Oregon or Washington lowered the standard or actually removed the taking the bar exam if you want to be an attorney. So they replaced it with something else, though, but they said it was racist. So this is why you just cannot let Democrats lead a state, lead a city, because they'll do these woke things that make your kids dumb. And because they don't want to like push your kids, this puts your kids on a path to where they won't be able to excel. And we know for some kids and certain groups of people, they definitely need different testing standards, or they need to they have difficulty with the testing standards. That's something that the education department is supposed to take care of. The education department is supposed to look over and have a conversation with. But unfortunately, this is kind of the easy way out to get those kids out of the school system and also say, hey, that kid graduated. So people want to have all this smoke for Linda McMahon, but at least she's trying to do something a little bit different. She's trying to hold these schools accountable for the lack of the test or for the testing standards we have now, or actually the reading standards that we have right now. Because when you look at those tests, I don't have them pulled up, but look them up if you want to. The people that are going to be at the bottom of that list are going to be kind of the usual suspects. They're going to be talking about black kids. They're going to be talking about non-black kids or really Mexicans from there. They always use those groups to push whatever stupid agenda that they have. And that's not the right thinking right there. That's just telling me that you're looking for like a Band-Aid to fix the problem versus, tackling the problem head on. And some of it is because they don't have a 2-parent household. That's not a problem for your kid to be disruptive. Maybe your kids need to go to one of those special schools because all these other kids, they're trying to learn, but they want your kid to be, they want your smart kid to be dumbed down, bring the bell curve down with some of with these other kids that are not there yet. Like these kids, for whatever reason, don't want to learn, or these kids don't want to, be active when it comes, or they want to take initiative, and the parents don't take initiative as well too. So there's a lot to be discussed here, but before I do, MC, you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up Linda McMahon because she said one thing that I really respected when she was appointed the education, whatever the role is. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
She said that she wanted to do her job so well that her role would become unnecessary. And as a taxpayer looking at the federal government, I think that was a perfect response to something. I know for a fact a lot of people with government jobs, they kind of get in there and they just do the minimal effort and then they kind of get their government pensions and just call it a day. But when you start putting expectations on people on getting work done, then you get what you get. So anyway, in essence, I'm fine with Linda McMahon. I'm fine with eliminating the Department of Education, allocating those resources to the states and letting them manage it. But let's go.
Facts. All right, let's get going.
To quietly implement a new system known as grading for equity, which severely lowers grading standards and will impact approximately 100,000 high school students in the city of San Francisco. Now, Superintendent Maria Sue didn't even bother seeking any approval from the San Francisco Board of Education before moving forward on this, in my opinion, terrible agenda. Now, the Voice of San Francisco, which reported on this story, argues that grading for equity de-emphasizes the importance of timely performance, meaning turning in your assignments on time, completion of assignments, meaning finishing your assignments,
Just standard stuff.
and consistent attendance. So those three things are de-emphasized in regard to the final grade students will get. Because, hey, we're grading for equity. Let's pause for a second and just acknowledge the fact that what this curriculum messages to the world is we don't think certain students can rise to the occasion. And so
Pretty much. They're talking about black
instead
kids
of
too.
finding ways to solve any issues that are standing in the way of them excelling, rather than doing something about those obstacles, we are going to lower the standards and then pat ourselves on the back with this ridiculous label of equity. This isn't equity,
All right,
students' final semester. This specific curriculum includes, grading for equity eliminates homework or weekly tests from being counted in a student's final semester grade. Grades won't be impacted due to late assignments, showing up late to class, or not showing up at all. Only the score on a final exam counts, which, by the way, students can take multiple times.
All right, I'm gonna stop and pause right there. Anything jump out at you as like being weird? See, like
So she said a lot of stuff that was weird to me. So I don't even know where to start. So first of all, let me just say this. If you're black, I don't know how this is not offensive to you. And I've said this before. So if you want to make the argument that history or certain elements of English need some reform, okay, I might be able to inhale a little bit of that. But when you start talking about what I've always appreciated about math and your sciences and your reading, that really doesn't have anything to do with race. It's more so inclined with effort. It correlates to effort. I used to suck at math, but by the time I got to high school, it was my favorite subject because I finally hooked up with the right tutors and I surrounded myself with people that like math. But when I hear stuff like this, the only thing that I'm taking in is we're doing this because we don't think black people are smart enough to keep up with everybody else. Now, that being said, there is a little bit of a decline in math in the United States overall, but it's affecting us the worst.
Yeah.
And there's also something else to consider when you look at industries, specifically STEM adjacent industries. You're going to notice a very specific trend on the type of people that are, I'll just say, we're importing a lot of people into the United States because we don't have the proper levels of certifications, effort, and intelligence to work in the medical fields, the information technology fields, the cybersecurity fields. Like these are the areas where we're there's others too. If you go to the
real quick, MC is being nice about. He's talking about the H1 visa bros. Like they are getting paid. They are getting paid in the city. I understand why you need H1B visas, but I think this is also one of those things where it's being abused by companies. But until we can like get enough people to like really compete and make a big stink out of those things, it's just going to keep happening more. And I want to say the most H1B visas that were approved were actually under I want to say it was either Biden or Obama. But yeah, that's definitely where it's leading towards too. And most of the Fortune 500 companies are led by people that are not American born. So food for thought there.
Yeah, definitely food for thought. And a lot of the times, a lot of these children, they don't even understand the possibilities of a career, right? Excuse me. So I mentor at a high school sometimes. And we recently had a conversation about ethical hackers. I don't know, TR, I know you know what an ethical hacker is, but a lot of others don't. There's actually a career where people can actually attempt to hack into other people's systems as like secure and do security screenings and tests. A lot of people don't know things like that exist. Coding is something else that's big. I talk to a lot of kids who game and who like to be online and work with different types of software and platforms. Hey, look at coding. Like, so the information is not there. And then once you get the information, then you got to kind of outline what the requirements are to get there. And again, it's these subjects that people tend to be scared of. Why are you scared of math? Why are you scared of physics or chemistry and in areas like that? Why won't you take an engineering class right now in high school and kind of get the curve started and to progress to where you want to be? Because engineers, certain type of engineers, there's a shortage too. But for some reason, we have this problem where the kids here are scared of these STEM adjacent subjects, and we got to get them back to caring about this stuff again and encouraging and letting them grow into it, particularly in our community, because we're still in a space right now where the smart people, and it's turning around. You seeing some more of the sophisticated and intelligent brothers and sisters getting the shine that they should have got years ago, but that wasn't always the case. That wasn't always the case at all.
Honestly, MC, I think it's going to be doom and gloom. Shout out to CGA, because what we're seeing happen right now. So when they lower these testing standards, this is just like a test. I mean, not a test, but this is like the trial run, just like 2020. This is a trial run, and then they're going to start rolling it out, or some of these states, because again, the education department is trying to give them a little bit more guidance and make them more accountable, which is excellent. But some of these states, obviously, they're going to try to fight. I mean, they're fighting the Trump administration on deporting people that have snuck into this country, broken multiple laws, have done heinous things to other humans, and we have these liberals still fighting for them. So yeah, it's going to be a very difficult thing. But if this starts going nationwide, this starts being like a norm for some of these, and it's going to be the blue states that suffer the most. No red state's going to sign off on this. I already know this won't be a thing. But this starts to take off though, and you have like AI just around the corner. I mean, Skynet's already activated. So it's only a matter of time before it goes into like level 2 or level 3. So for the people thinking that, we just got passed through, but they'll figure it out, they're not going to be able to figure it out though, because those jobs won't be there. They're going to have to find a different path. I do like that the Trump administration is taking some of the money. Damn, we should talk about Harvard too. We'll catch that up next week. But is looking to take hundreds of millions of dollars from the Harvard University, because obviously they've done a lot of woke things that have compromised their integrity, and he's looking to move that money to some of these trade schools. And so that might be the better path, but you still got to know how to like do simple or basic math. You still need to know how to like put a sentence together, or sentence structure, or English. So you still gonna need to know how to do those things, and they're just passing these kids along. And especially when it's your last year and they can just mail it in. I mean, it's just, again, this is terrible news. And on one hand, it's they're getting rid of some of the bad kids, but those bad kids, are they going to turn out to be doctors down the road? Probably not, because they know that they can just get by with the bare minimum, and they just got to show up for the graduation. So this is, like I said, this is really bad. And when it comes to like, San Francisco, I'm not surprised, because they test all their agendas out on kids that are not white. They do this because they know a lot of people are not paying attention, but we're paying attention to it. MC?
Yeah, and I think, and I'm gonna redirect this back to I'm gonna redirect this back to Black folks for a minute, because let's be honest, this is all directed at us. They're trying to make us feel more included. You should be insulted by this. We come from the culture of Carter G. Woodson, Charles Drew, uh, Garrett, I think his name was Garrett Morgan. Yep, I was right, Garrett Morgan. But we come from a culture of inventors and scientists and essentially people that can take resources and turn it into something productive. We have just as many contributors to American society as any other group of people. And now all of a sudden we act like we're not smart enough to do these same things that we ascended from. This is very
Yeah.
offensive to me, and it should be to y'all too. And if it's not, I'd like to have a conversation with you. We can
Facts.
do this. We have the resources to do what everybody else is doing. We just have to shift our culture back to the things that matter.
Can pass with a D.
Actually, let me go back on it.
I think that's 80 for equity system touted by the San Francisco Unified School District and its consultant. A student with a score as low as 80 can attain an A,
Oof.
and as low as 21% can pass with a D. I think that's
TR, do
crazy.
you want somebody?
So the
Hold on, pause it real quick. Do you want somebody with a score of 95 or a score of 21 designing your Boeing plane that you're about to jump on for a flight?
Hey, I got
You
one
would think
better.
that that's the common sense question.
I got one better for you. If you want somebody that's in the 80, around the 80 range or the 95 range when it comes to like just piloting that airplane, like it's all bad. It's just this is just terrible. And one of the jobs that has a shortage is air traffic, well, pilots, and then air traffic controllers. Those jobs pay six figs, and I don't think you have to go to college to be an air traffic controller. And probably the same thing with being a pilot. You just need flight time and all that. But yeah, those are two areas that definitely need a demand. They lack a shortage in like other straight white men essentially because a lot of them gravitate towards that will do it. And I'm not saying it's an easy job though, because we've seen some difficult stories that have come about when you don't have the right people in place. But I don't know why schools are not promoting that. I don't know why schools are, they don't have like kind of a program where they can introduce kids to a pilot program or some type of flight program or something close to that. There's a lot of jobs out there that you wouldn't believe that just pay a lot. And like I said earlier, with AI is going to remove a lot of these customer service jobs. The people that tend to do the customer service jobs are generally women. So this is a problem for men and women, but the women are going to be hurt the most though, because we saw what happened with Trump removing a lot of these government jobs. The government's still running fine and efficient. Yeah, there were some rough patches at the beginning, but no one ever talks about it no more. They fired all those IRS agents. So, and I don't think it's more to do because of AI, though. I think it's definitely because of what happened with Doge. But I mean, essentially, they're going to become more efficient. And if Doge continues to, still be part of the help with the Trump administration, it's going to find more inefficiencies, and maybe it'll look to AI to continue to, make things faster, do things faster, response time is faster. AI has been starting to become slowly part of like, everyday life though. It's on your phone. It's on your, when it comes to suggestions, what TV shows you should watch, or with YouTube suggestions, like it's moving really fast. And the people that are not paying attention, they're going to get hit by it. They're going to get hit by a bus, and they're going to be like, well, where are the jobs go? Well, you went for some of these jobs that just really aren't jobs that will be around in 10 years. And so, yeah, it's unfortunate. And the grading standards, that doesn't help you. That's just terrible for you. And not to mention, if people start finding out like some of these schools are, reducing the education range or the score range, they're gonna hold that against you. Like, oh, you went to one of those San Francisco schools. All right, well, I can tell that you're probably not a smart person, or maybe you have some difficulty learning, and then you're gonna start feeling some type of way. So yeah, that's bad for all those people.
Yeah. Yeah, and just a quick shout out, because we often talk about, well, we don't have the resources they have. I just want to call out Tuskegee University, which is an HBCU. That's one of the best aviation programs in the country. I would put that next to a lot of different aviation countries, and I'm just using that because that's what we were talking about in the example that you gave. So we have these resources and we have the knowledge. we just gotta focus and shift our culture. I'm gonna keep saying that until it starts to stick with people.
Great.
His name is Joe Feldman, the consultant. He wrote in 2019 that in Placer County, another jurisdiction.
Yeah, 2019. This is how long they've been working on this. 2019. And it might have been earlier now. This is just what they pulled.
With the grading system, students who did not qualify for free or reduced price lunch had a sharper decrease in A's, reflecting how traditional grading practices disproportionately benefit students with resources because of the inequitable inclusion of extra credit and other resource-dependent grading criteria. What?
A lot of word salad there.
That statement made no sense. Okay, so if your argument is students who don't qualify for free or reduced price lunch tend to come from affluent families,
I'm gonna go back here. So I think the story came from a Harvard conversation, and so Harvard just taking massive L's this week. So I don't know if this guy's a Harvard grad, but I think they covered the story. Actually, he might be. They have a little watermark there. But this is what the white saviors do. They put these programs in place. They say that they're helping certain communities and are really targeting communities. And this is how they get a lot of their grant money. They just had a professor that at Harvard that was fired because she fabricated data. I don't know what it was referring to, but she just got fired. She was making a salary over $1 million. So the people telling you that your kids are dumb and we need to reduce the grade standards are the ones just getting a bag off of you. So much money has been made off of the backs of Black kids just by saying, hey, because of racism, please give me this type of money so I can help these kids think better or listen better. And I'm surprised the teachers union hasn't even said anything. This is a slap in their face too. So there's a lot of people that are sitting on their hands, not saying anything. And these teachers, I get told all the time, the teachers care about the kids. Is this caring about the kids? Because she said earlier that they just pushed this program through without even talking to like some of the teachers union or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, they may have pushed it through though. How come you guys aren't talking about it? How come you guys aren't out protesting like these are Tesla dealerships? You can't find any of these people anywhere. All they know how to do is race hustle off of the backs of Black people, specifically Black kids, because that's how you get all this grant money. That's why Harvard's upset that they're losing a lot of their grant money, because most of it is just scam stuff. Like Harvard might do some efficient, they will do tests. I don't want to say it's a complete sham of a program, but they don't do it 100% of the time. They're doing tests that do not benefit the American population. What they're doing is creating these scam opportunities to say like, hey, this is because this is at Harvard or this was discussed at a high level school. We are going to make this a norm by pushing this out to some of these urban schools, because they can do this in white schools. The white people would have been like, no, we ain't doing that. Take those programs down the street. That ain't gonna happen at our school. So again, and I think we're done with this person. But that's the thing. They do all this stuff just to promote whatever deal that they're getting. Who knows how much money he's getting? Like, people need to start looking at their salaries and start looking at how long they've been in this position or this role, and saying like, well, why are you going after like Black kids or Mexican kids or brown kids or whatever? Like, why aren't you going after why aren't you going out some of these affluent neighborhoods? How come you're not having that conversation there? Or they test a little bit better? Why are they testing a little bit better? Like, let's have that conversation. And we probably know the answer why they're testing.
That's the better conversation. Absolutely, it is.
Yeah. They would never dare to do any of that stuff because they know they would get ran out.
Yeah, we asked the wrong questions. I want to backtrack real quick, and I'm going to defend teachers real quick because I've seen from the inside. First of all, there are a lot of trash teachers. Let's start there, but there's some excellent ones too.
Sure.
And when I say excellent, teachers are fighting a lot of battles right now. I don't think people realize how much money that teachers pay out of their own pockets to get supplies to their kids. I'm married to a teacher, and I can tell you, I've written many checks to fund my wife's students. Now, I don't understand that all teachers don't have a husband who can provide the way that I can for my wife. So I'm gonna talk to my ish a little bit. But Teachers are fighting a lot of battles. They got union battles. A lot of them are getting kids that are not being properly parented. So now you got to be a parent. You got to be a referee to break up a fight. You got to be a moderator for a debate. You got to be law enforcement. You got to be up to date with all your certifications and training. You got long hours. You got like teachers have fighting a lot of different battles. And that's probably why it's best they have the schedule that they have. So I just wanted to call back and call that out. Now, that being said, these failures in the education system start with the family. If your child, unless they've got some kind of mental disability, some intellectual disability, if your child is failing, it's because you're not doing your job as a parent. It has nothing to do with anybody else but what's going on in your house. What's that joke that Chris Rock said? If the kid can't read, it's mama's fault. But if the kid can't read because ain't no lights on, it's daddy's fault.
Yeah.
That's the logic right there.
Yeah. Yeah, people got to pay attention to this stuff, and so I don't see a lot of people really covering this story on how the liberals are trying to get another bag off of black kids. But it's a conversation that needs to be discussed out loud, and it primarily comes from the Democratic Party. So whether people want to believe the Democrats are for them, just look at what they do. Look at the studies that they commission. Look at some of the grant money that they're getting. It's all to not help you. It's all just to study you and figure out how to prolong that study. That's all it is. So that's all it's ever been, honestly. So, all right, we're gonna jump to the next topic. Kind of have this ready to go a little bit though. And the WNBA has been trending, and it's trending for all the wrong reasons, unfortunately. Like the WNBA, I mean, I'm trying to think of somebody who's Ryan Clark had a bad week. He definitely had a bad week. He had to come back out again and make an apology to Bill Belichick because allegedly he was being told by that chick, I think her name was Jordan something, that she was directing the entire interview that he had with Bill Belichick. And it's like, man, this is not looking good, Ryan Clark. Your race hustling days are numbered. So, but anyways, this is a WNBA conversation. So recently the WNBA had got into some hot water. Well, they were pushed into some hot water regarding some racism claims from the Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark basketball game, which Caitlin Clark, beat that ass. But it came from that game where someone allegedly, there were some claims that Angel Reese was being heckled with some racial slurs, and the WNBA did a whole investigation on it, and they found nothing. They found nothing to the point where they had to come out and have a statement regarding that as well too. So let me get this. Let me present this here. So the WNBA statement, all right, let me get my words together. The WNBA today issued the following statement regarding Chicago Sky at the Indiana Fever game on May 17, 2025. We have investigated the report of racist fan behavior in the vicinity of the court during the May 17, 2025 Chicago Sky at Indiana Fever game. Based on information gathered today, including with relevant fans, team, and arena staff, as well as audio video review of the game, we have now substantiated it. The WNBA is committed to fostering a safe, inclusive environment for everyone and will continue to be vigilant in enforcing our fan code of conduct. Okay, so that's a nice little, hey, we may have got this wrong, but they didn't apologize to the Indiana Fever fans, like the fans that are not racist, that are actually out there supporting Caitlin Clark. And, some of them are probably going to be more Caitlin Clark fans than the Indiana Fever fans. But the WNBA, this match was lit. Well, I don't know. I think it was lit from social media. But who ran with it was Angel Reese, because Angel Reese had a post conversation. If I can find it, I'll play it. But Angel Reese had a post conversation talking about, the WNBA needs to continue doing better and we need to be protected, blah, 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 the whole Victim Olympics speech. But this is a terrible look that the WNBA had to put out this statement that, again, they found no racism claim. MC?
When has the leadership of the WNBA ever read the room? Like,
right.
we talked about this over and over again. I can start with Candace Wiggins and I can end with Angel Reese's first game not being televised and somebody streamed it on Facebook and got over 1 million views. Like, there's been multiple pieces of failure throughout the WNBA's leadership. That being said, yeah, this is an L for them as well. Just add this one to the category as well. And you cannot play with this racism word, man. it's people overuse it so much, and
Yep.
half the time when they use it, it doesn't even apply. A lot of people that look like me get mad when I say this. We do not experience racism the same way that our grandparents did, and half the time when y'all ninjas call something racist, it's just because you got your feelings hurt. That my grandparents experienced real racism, not this nonsense that y'all be talking about. That oh, he don't like me. Who cares? Who? And I would say the same thing to Angel Reese. Look, you have a larger following. You don't have the financial part. I get it. You want more money. You don't deserve it based on how the WNBA is performing, but you want it. But I get that you want it though. But as of right now, you live in the American dream. I don't understand how you. What are you complaining about? Like you're getting paid to do what you love. You're getting paid to work out and stay in shape, and you have an off season where you can basically do whatever you want as long as you stay in shape and stay out of trouble. Like, what are we doing right now? This is ridiculous to me.
Yep. Here, I got that video ready to go. So we'll listen to Angel Reese.
Obviously, there's no place in this league for that. I think the WNBA, our team and our organization has done a great job supporting me. I've had communication from everyone, from so many people across this league, and being able to support me and going through this whole process. Obviously, it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone, and I think they've done a great job supporting us.
She said it could happen to me, it could happen to anyone. They found no racism claims. There was nothing happened during the game. Like, if you want to talk about how people reacted outside of the stadium, fine, say that. But during the game, there's nothing discussed. You can't control people outside of the game. You can control people within the game. And there's a fan getting out of control, a fan doing some wild shit. I mean, you tell me you got people are always recording. No one can ever substantiate these racism claims that seem to always occur when Angel Reese is in town. So either she's making it up, which in this case, she said she making it sound like she heard it directly. Where's the accountability for Angel Reese? Because essentially she basically said, hey, somebody was being racist, and it was a wild accusation nowadays, and they found out no one's being racist. So is she not going to get in trouble for just making this claim? Or, I mean, she didn't make the claim initially, but she validated the claim. Well, the WNBA validated it too. But she was also she's also part of the problem. So where's the accountability on Angel Reese's time or turn when she needs to come out and say, like, hey, I got this one wrong. I thought I heard something and I didn't. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Maybe all she has to do is be truthful about this. But she cannot be truthful about this. This has been a few days. She refuses to have this conversation. And everyone that was talking about this, they forgot about it. But you know what they didn't forget? You go to Indiana, you're gonna you're gonna hear some racist stuff going on. And so you're there trying to hear people being racist. Everyone's just having fun. And then you'll start seeing ghosts, or, I thought he said something, or you're being on edge. That stuff is not even happening. If it barely happens at men's basketball games. Why do you think people go out of their way to say some crazy, outlandish stuff when it comes to WNBA stuff? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I think the NBA is a different story because I know for a fact Russell Westbrook has gotten many fans thrown out. I remember a particular instance in Salt Lake City.
But not being racist, though. Not being racist.
That's exactly what happened, though. He said a slur was thrown at him. He flagged security over, and they got him up out of there. LeBron's done that before too.
I'm gonna have to pull that out.
yeah, pull it up. Type his name in Salt Lake City. I'm sure it'll be one of the first things that pops up.
All right.
I think Angel's in a tough space right now, and Angel's in a tough place right now. She I don't think she can handle how she's being portrayed by the media, and it's getting under her skin. I said this before. There are certain people that are trying to turn her into a villain no matter what she does. Now, whether she accepts that or not, that's up to her. Now, whether it affects her or not is a different story. I think right now it affects her game. I think it affects the way she does interviews, and I think it affects to a lesser degree the way she conducts herself. I think she started off great this season, kind of staying away from the Caitlin Clark and the racism drama, but I see now she's kind of leaning back into it a little bit. And maybe she gets messages in her inbox or something. I don't know. But in this particular instance, if this is what the assumption was, that someone there said something crazy to her and it was proven wrong, she does need to own up to it and apologize. We cannot keep playing with this word. We need to save it for when it actually happens. Because the more we say it, the weaker it becomes.
It's
And
already
unless
become
it's
weak.
relevant, it's weak because everybody uses it so much. Everybody starts their arguments off with this is racist, this is sexist, and then they add all the phobics too. And after a while, people just get tired of hearing that stuff.
You know,
Tired of hearing it.
but you know what?
I've only had one instance of racism in my life. Just one. And it was when I was 18 years old. I've not had any other incidents of racism at all. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. All I'm saying is if you say it, make sure you really mean it. That is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but here's the thing, MC. I think Angel Reese wants to be the villain, or she wants to be the villain on her terms, which is fine. But Angel Reese, you sent this to me earlier, Jay. I was trying to find it here. But Angel Reese, out of like all those WNBA players, she has the most active social media fan base. So that can't be for hating. That can't be for people they just hate her. Like I've never seen that many people with I think she had like it was either close to 4 or 5 million or whatever it was. But
we actually talked about that on a previous show. We pulled up both of their IG profiles, and Angel had at least twice as many followers as Kate.
Right. It's definitely grown. I can't find it. But the point is, she's definitely getting a lot of exposure, and she's making a lot of money off of it, as well as her podcast. She's gotten multiple brand endorsements. She had a McDonald's meal. She had the cereal. She has I think she has some water or whatever it is, whatever. I'm not trying to count her pockets, but she's getting a lot of brand exposure. So for someone that, is hated, she's getting a lot of exposure. She's making a lot of money. And I will say, like, part of that is because of the rivalry with Caitlin Clark. And Caitlin Clark, unfortunately for Caitlin Clark, she's gonna have to fight back because not only
have it in her.
I know, but she's gonna have to figure out something because actually, this is a good thing to pull up though, because I want to show the difference in like how these teams how they handle this, because it's going to be a problem for all of them down the road though, because the more that it's just proven that there was no racism that occurred when Angela Reese was there. And the NBA, or not the NBA, but the WNBA came out with like this half-ass message, and they refused to like really take accountability or really say like, hey, Angel Reese, you made a mistake here. You went out on the public airways and you said this nonsense. You need to come out with an apology or walk this back or say something that you were just seeing ghosts or hearing ghosts or whatever. But they didn't do that. And the Indiana Fever, they actually had a response to it, if I can find it, but their response was kind of half-assed too. And so what I'm saying in all this is that when they don't tackle this, when they don't attack this with some aggressiveness, it turns into another racism thing. Like, well, this one wasn't racism, but this next thing, this is the real racism. And you got to have that same energy you had for the fake racism. You got to do it for the real racism now. And then it turns out that was a fake racism too. Okay, well, whatever. We know something's going on. We'll just wait till the next time we get a real racism case. And so if these teams don't fight back, if the coach, I forget the coach's name, something Stephanie White maybe, if she doesn't, start protecting her players, especially Caitlin Clark, because we know Caitlin Clark's not racist or has a racist bone in her body. Well, at least from what we've seen on the screen. So, and I haven't heard anything that she's racist or stuff, anything. She's probably like trying to be everybody's friend is what I get from it. But if they don't start protecting the Indiana Fever fan base and as well as Caitlin Clark, this racism claim is going to keep popping up. And when it shouldn't be popping up, because now your name is attached to it. You put in Indiana Fever, you're going to see racism come up next in the Google suggestions because of what happened because they let something spread on. They got their intel from social media, and then the WNBA validated it by saying we're going to look into it, and they're all doing these think pieces on it. It's just ridiculous. So they're going to have to do something about this. And unfortunately, Caitlin Clark is going to be the one that has to fall on the sword again to protect the Indiana Fever, and also for white people, I assume.
And Indiana has the stigma because they're credited as being the place where the Klan was founded. So they've always had this stigma. Yeah, they've always had this stigma on them of being, quote unquote, a bunch of racist hicks. And we know that there's good people everywhere. So they're probably tired of hearing stuff.
I would have said Boston they get that name they get that name better than anybody.
Yeah, Boston is a. You could just listen to Bomani Jones talk about Boston, and
Yeah.
you'll get a whole lot of what you want with that one.
Hey,
But yeah,
MC, real quick. Sorry to interrupt. This is the response from the Indiana Fever. In response to the WBA's recently concluded investigation, Pacer Sports and Entertainment CEO Mel Raines has issued the following statement. We appreciate the swift and thorough process undertaken by the WNBA to investigate these allegations, which were not substantiated at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. We are committed to providing the best possible basketball experience for players and fans. Where hate speech has absolutely no place. Indiana is home to the world's greatest fans, and we look forward to an exciting season of Fever basketball. Like, no, you gotta you gotta tell the WNBA, hey, why'd you guys even look into this? There was nothing to look into, and you guys you started listening to what was said on social media, but you have people that actually work there. You have security guards that work there. You have all those cameras that are always recording, and nobody heard anything. Come on, man. Like, this is what I'm saying. They got to start being a little more aggressive, because what's going to happen is that it's going to be, let's say one racism claim does happen. Then what's going to happen, and then what's going to be is that somebody's going to get fired for it. Over like all the fake ones, they didn't get fired over it. But now that we have a real one, well, we got to definitely take you out with this one, because it's been breeding in the air, is what they'll say. So then that's for them. They want to be woke. They want to get on the board with all the woke crazies. Be my guest, though, and we'll see how that works out long term.
yeah. And I want to talk to the pro blacks for just a minute, because I already know y'all gonna be on both of our necks about this, and I kind of care, but TR doesn't. But I'm gonna address y'all anyway. Look, anybody, if you're willing to crack, I don't know Caitlin Clark and I don't know Angel Reese. All I know is what's put out in the media, what they say in interviews, and what they do on their social media. So by definition, I don't know them. If Angel Reese is saying something happened and y'all are willing to crash out for her over somebody that you do not know, you are an idiot. I'm sorry, you just are. I'm not crashing out for somebody that I don't know. There's nothing to show that Caitlin Clark has any type of racism in her. There's nothing that shows that Angel Reese experienced anything at this game, and we can't substantiate what Angel is saying. I think Angel does have some frustrations that are valid, but this ain't one of them. And if y'all willing to crash out over this, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Hey, real quick. So I don't want to say you weren't accurate. You were somewhat accurate about that Russell Wilson claim or Westbrook claim. So allegation of racial taunt. And I remember this. I feel like I was right on this, though. Actually, I know it's right. Where's the exact message? Okay. He told him to get down on his knees like I used to. And where's the racism claim? I mean, that's kind of a man card thing, but where's the racism claim?
I took it as a man card thing too, but at the time he called it the racist word that he was pushing to have him thrown out. I think it was a disrespect to my manhood, and in situations like that, you can either, I'm not gonna say how I would have handled that, but yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, the fans should have been thrown out. You can't look, if you want to be a fun fan or an active fan, it'd be my guess. But you can't be telling grown men, basketball players, and grown men in general, like you said, you can't be having that conversation. So, but that goes to the point about, is it racism or is not? And a lot of times it turns out it's not racism.
Some men, if you say something like that to them, you're going to have to see them outside in the parking lot.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah. I'm not one of those dudes, but yeah, you need to be real careful with your words, man. You don't know what it will lead to.
Yeah, definitely. Them fighting words. Okay, we got one more topic here. MC, you doing good on time?
Yeah, we good.
All right. So we are going to have a conversation about our relationships. So let me get this ready to go. MC, you want to entertain the fans?
Yeah, I know a lot of y'all who watch this who personally know me. I ask us to kind of mix in the relationship stuff a little bit. So we always try to find at least one topic to go in there. I think this one is going to be a really good one. I know a couple of the fellas, the young men that I mentor, are watching this because I asked them to, and I know they will. So let's do it.
Hey, make sure y'all subscribe too. I mean, if MC is listening to the folks, make sure you show up and support and subscribe and like.
Just the ones I care about. I listen to.
Yeah. All right. This is ready to go. Oops. All right.
A younger man recently commented on one of my YouTube videos.
Wait, hold on. Shut out, TR.
Yep.
Skip that one. It's the two underneath it.
Oh, my apologies there.
Yep. We're doing it live, everybody. We are doing it live. But again, we try to mix it up. We like to mix in a little bit of politics, a little bit of sports, a little bit of relationship stuff. But if you ever see a topic that you think is worthy of a good conversation, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on IG. We're both pretty active there. On the inbox and say, hey, this one might be good. Even if you got some input, drop it right there in the comments. We typically look at those comments.
Yep. All right. We got it.
That is a great question. So if women want to be led, why do they fight back so much?
All right, that's a good question. The reason why a woman might fight back against a man's attempt to lead the relationship is she's not yet sure you can do it. So if she was already very sure, she wouldn't be fighting you. But in the vast majority of cases, a woman isn't sure yet. And so she's going to test the dude to see if he actually has the traits and the capabilities to lead the relationship. You can think of it like taking a car for a test drive. When you take a car for a test drive, a couple things are true. One, you're a fairly motivated buyer. People do not test drive for fun. People test drive cars. It doesn't necessarily mean they're going to buy that car, but they are definitely in the market to buy a car, and this is on their short list. A woman testing you is actually a very good sign because it exhibits that she is highly interested in moving forward with the transaction.
Brad has a great question. So if
What? Why did you say transaction? Is there a bigger message here?
So essentially, the message is, if she likes you, she's going to test you. So where do you stand on that, TR? Do you think it's some BS, or do you think it's mind games? Do you think it's valid? Where do you stand on it?
Hold on. Did you see the rest of this where he's talking about the transaction? Is he talking about the relationship transaction?
Well, relationships are transactional at the end of the day. If you're going to pretend like it's not, that's a part of it. I'm expected to provide certain things, and so is she. If you don't want to accept that reality, I don't know what to tell you.
Just getting
CGA will say the same thing.
Yeah. What was your question again? Sorry.
Where do you stand on this? Do you think it's mind games? You think it's BS? You think it's valid? A woman tested a man.
I think
that
it's
she quote unquote likes.
Yeah. Whether she likes you or not, she's going to test you no matter what. Women do this stuff to everybody. They test other women. What men need to start doing is that once you recognize, because this is essentially a shit test, and I think you labeled it that there when you put the topic up there. So yeah, it's definitely a shit test, but move on. You don't have to do any of that stuff though. Are you going to shit test her about her cooking? Are you going to shit test her about if she's out by herself, some guy walks up on her? Like, where's your shit? What's your equivalent to your shit test to her? No, you're not going to do that because you're busy. You're busy trying to get the money. You're busy trying to work. You're busy trying to provide for the family, or at least provide a good lifestyle for your family. People don't have time to shit test, and I see this a lot. And I didn't recognize that these were actually, you call them shit tests, what women do. And I'm like, man, why was she pushing me on stuff like this? This was like so dumb. This was so idiotic. And all it really was a shit test. And it's unfortunate you don't really learn any of this stuff until you're a little bit older. And even if you see other men, because I saw other men go through all this, but I never put a name on it though, or I never could put a name on it, unfortunately, until I got a little bit older and I heard somebody call it a shit test. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I just understand why women are still doing shit tests out there. Like, what more do you need to know? Do you shit test your boss? Do you shit test your kid's coach? Do you shit test your teachers? No, they only do it to the men that they know they can get away with. So they might like you or not like you, but they're only doing it to a certain type of men that they can get away with you. And to me, that's a sign of disrespect. You don't need you don't shit test your boss. You don't shit test, maybe your teacher. You don't shit test those types of people because you have a genuine respect for those people. But why they shit test a person that will jump in front of a moving car, that will jump in front of a bullet, that will, protect their life if they have to, go up against like a bear or cougar or something. They will do a lot of things and you still got to be shit tested. Man, miss me with that. Like, I'm not messing with, any of that stuff. Like once a woman starts to shit test me, I'm like, all right, moving on to the next one. I'm not playing these games. And unfortunately, men don't recognize that they're being manipulated. And I don't think women are manipulating on purpose. It's just kind of like their nature is to try to manipulate things because maybe they do want to shit test, see how far he can take things. But it's like, if this guy loves you, why do you need to test him? He's already married you. Why are you shit testing him? But crazy.
So I specifically picked this topic because I figured we would have some disagreements over it.
Oh
So
man.
I'm going to preface this by saying, yes, women test, and yes, women should test. Now, let me break that down, what I mean by that. I'm a traditionalist, right? I say this all the time. I'm the head of the house. I have a traditional marriage. So, in essence, any woman that I dealt with in the past, I'm asking them. That's a good one. Any woman that I'm dealing with, I'm essentially asking her to submit to me, my leadership, my purpose, my direction. I'm on the hook for all of that. So knowing all of that, knowing that I'm asking her to look outside of herself and see the vision that I have and the family that we're building, I think she should test a little bit. But I'm going to preface this by saying initially, because my patience is going to run thin after a while. You better figure out real quick if I'm passing all these little metrics in your head, because there's a thin line between me, you testing me, and you playing games with me. And as men, we don't really read that very well, and that's something we could probably improve on. But I think she's going to test you to see what your boundaries are, if you're as masculine as you say you are, and can you do the essential duties: protect, provide, maintain, sustain, lead. I think women are going to test for that, whether it be indirectly or directly.
See, that's the thing I don't get, because when they shit test you, it doesn't stop there. And I know you said initially, I've been in some long-term relationships. That shit test does not stop. And so there's some truth to, like, women are looking for a certain type of reaction though. But even when you pass that shit test, there's always going to be another one. So as much as, the shit test may be relevant to a degree to growing, it's not relevant coming from them, because again, what's the equivalent of a man telling a woman to shit test? There nothing is there. And so for women, if you feel that you have to shit test a guy, did you shit test your baby daddy? Are you shit testing the stepdad? Like they do these things that are like death by 1,000 cuts. And I'm just saying you have to stop doing those things, because at the end, like when women want to figure out if you're that guy, like, okay, say this, Chris Brown. Those women are shit testing Chris Brown. I don't know who Chris Brown is like dating, but
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, they're not shit testing. They're giving him like $1,000 to take pictures with Chris. Another one is Usher. Women, they're going to let the men that they want to be around to do all the terrible, Cassie, all the terrible things.
I'm gonna tell you why those are all terrible examples, though.
No, hold on.
All right, I'm gonna let you cook.
I get it. And I know these are celebrities, and I know we're not going to live that life, but to some degree, there's some truth there, though, because a lot of these women they allow all these men to take liberties with them. And granted, they might come back and me too you, but at the end of the day, they still letting them have their body, have the box. So as much as I want to say, the shit testing can be, there's a private good way to doing it, or a efficient way of doing it. No, they don't do it to you because you're just a regular dude. They're not doing it to these men of, the men that have value. They're not doing it to like some CEO. I mean, do you think Jeff Bezos getting shit tested by his chick? And I just saw his chick. She got way too much plastic on her. But that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, Jeff Bezos ain't getting checked like that. You think Elon's getting checked by all 11 of his baby mamas? Hell no. None of them are doing any shit testing to him. So if you are a man of, you don't have to be a man of status. If you are a man that just, you're confident in yourself, and you are, no woman, first of all, no man can shake you. So why is a woman going to be able to shake you? Like, ain't no man going to shit test me. Is a woman going to shit test you? Hell no. You got to, no, not even, not on my watch.
Yeah, I can't wait till you play that part too, because I think you're going to agree with some of those points. And I like what Brando just wrote again, by the way. Women's intuition, I think we've already proved at this point.
Oh, yeah, the worst intuition.
Y'all suck at choosing men. I wish y'all would understand that and get some help from the real
Cassie.
men in your life, but y'all suck at choosing men. I mean, we have way more than enough evidence to prove that. But the examples that you brought up, for multiple reasons, don't apply here. Number one, you brought up Jeff Bezos. If a woman meets Jeff Bezos, she already knows his vision is working. She already knows his direction, his leadership means something. He's proven already. If she meets somebody she don't know that. So she's gonna do her little checks and stuff here and there. But again, I ain't got the patience to be doing it for long term. Ask the questions, present your scenarios, do what you do. But if it starts getting like childish and goofy stuff, like, oh, I think I'm gonna go over here and talk to this other guy at this party and see if he
See,
gets
where's
mad.
the line
You know
at?
what I'm gonna do? You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna leave, and she gonna find her own ride home. I ain't even gonna say goodbye. That's what I'm gonna do. And some women play around like that. And
MC,
I think as men, you have to set your boundaries and make sure. Look, these are my lines. If you cross them, I'm gone. I'm not about to argue with you. I'm gone.
MC can say that because he is a happily married man. So he been out the game for a little bit. I'm telling you,
I was tested though. I was tested. I promise you, I was tested.
Okay, all right. I'm not in a marriage group, so I'm gonna. And a lot of people, a lot of our viewers are not in the marriage group. Okay, it's very difficult. A lot of times you have to like train these women when it comes to like when you're going out because they don't understand. I mean, they want the I forget the word I was looking for, but they know something is wrong, but they want to find out that, oh, I didn't know. Like I forget what that word is called. They want whatever it is, but I'm sure it'll come to me. But they will do things that they know they should not be doing. So when a guy, let's say like a chick is by herself and some guy just walks up on her and is like, hey, try and get her number. I'm like, she knows the guy's trying to get her number, but when they get into a relationship, they want to act like willful ignorance. That's what it is. They want to act like that guy's not trying to get their number, not trying to get her number. Like, oh, babe, why are you getting upset? He just said I had nice eyes, and I told him like, hey, sorry. Threw a smile at him. And I can't, I have a boyfriend and I'm happily with my boyfriend or husband or whatever the case is. Like they do stuff like that that they get themselves in trouble, and you look like you're crazy. And like you can't be entertaining other men like that. And again, that is a shit test. You want to see how you respond, how you react. And for Jeff Bezos, you're right, because they already know how to do that. So that tells me they know how to do it for the right guy. But when they get around us goofy asses that are not Jeff Bezos, they didn't want to act all like, well, I didn't know. Like this willful ignorance. Again, they know how to do this stuff. They know how to turn it on and how to turn it off. So for you to, I'm not saying you do this, but
like, no, you can say whatever, man. I already know so. But check this out. Before you play that second video, because I think you're going to agree with some of those points. Chris Brown and Usher, I wouldn't even deal with a woman who throws themselves at people like that because off the rip, she probably thinks that they're better men than I am, which, first of all, ain't true. The only difference is they got more money. But I guarantee you my masculinity matches up. But they don't see it like that. All they just there for the lick and the glory and the fame that comes with something like that. So that's not even in my circle.
I got one for you. I'm gonna need you to try to, save the marriage bros on this one because
I'm not saving the marriage bros. I'm saving my marriage. That's it. But go ahead.
Hold on. Let me pull this up before I play that video because you're gonna be like, all right. So everybody knows, like, okay, look, there's a couple of chicks in the WNBA that, okay, yeah, we gonna go all the way with this. So there's a couple of women in the WNBA that I definitely like. I like that girl. But there's a video that recently came out with this player, and I don't want to give it away though because it is too funny. Hold on. Now you tell me, MC, tell me if this is not a shit test. She didn't say daddy, but damn. Turn his music off. Look, was that 4 or 5?
So are you implying that she's there with another man and then she saw KD and she slid off and
MC, she has a whole fiance.
Oh yeah.
She got a whole fiance. If you see your girl, first of all, is this a shit test? Is this going to be a shit test?
How long was the exchange and the hug? I haven't seen this video.
This is why I need that video. That
I
shuffling.
need context.
You shuffling.
I know. I need context. You can't ask me to opine on something I ain't seen the whole video. If it was just like, hey, a quick what's up in the picture.
All right, hold on. Let me see.
If it's a quick what's up and take a picture, whatever. You play basketball, he plays basketball.
All right, I got it right here. I got one that's not edited. Like, you know, give yourself a chance to you know, clean it up a little bit. Pause.
Ain't nothing to clean up. I know the difference between I want to take you down hug and hey, what's up kind of hug.
All right, here we go. Here.
Who is this, by the way? What's her name?
You know who this is? This is Cam Brink.
That's man. Okay, I didn't know that was her. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so nah, we might have to. We gonna just. She said what's up to him. She gave him a quick hug and she took a picture. Is that your line? Do you know what's your line? Because if you're going to sit here and tell me that she can't, a basketball player taking a picture with a basketball player, is that your line?
Hey, I don't see nobody else taking a picture. Asia Wilson, tell me I want to see the picture of Asia Wilson. And actually, I think Asia Wilson does know. Yeah, I think Asia Wilson does know Kevin Durant, though. But come on, man. You can't. Okay, you might be able to take a picture, but you can't be showing up in a mini skirt. I don't know if these are shorts or I think they're shorts. So you in mini
that
shorts.
We can agree on. I wouldn't want to be with a woman who dresses like that.
You and not to mention, she's actually injured. She tore her ACL last season, and she's supposed to be playing next month. So coming back from her ACL injury. But again, this is her in these little ass shorts, and I'm not complaining about the whole fit or whatever. Okay. But KD over there looking her up and down, her man gonna see this. You even tell me he ain't supposed to feel some type of way? Her man is supposed to be like Alex Fine.
But did you or did you not in previous episodes say that you like when your woman dresses a little, and then y'all step out and you notice all eyes are on her?
What's she on the court for? Is she playing?
So again, what's your line? Was it the hug? Was it the picture? What was your line?
I'm telling y'all.
No, I really want you to answer that question. What was your line?
The line was her ass not being on the goddamn court. That's the line. She should not be on the court.
So a basketball player get on the basketball court to say what's up to other basketball players. That's your line.
They don't play in the same. They don't play on the same goddamn team. They don't play on the same. They don't play in the same damn building. They're not in the same fucking state. First of all, again, what is she doing there? What is she doing on the court?
Do you know the difference between a flirtatious hug and a professional hug, TR?
Oh man, see, all right, see,
all right. Let me put it to you this way.
You guys are getting different views of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. I'm not playing on that line. Like Cam Brink, gorgeous. Okay, I know some people might say she's not gorgeous or she might be good looking. There's a whole bunch of girls I can't wait that Juju Watkins gets into the league. Okay, because you know they need some more good looking chicks in the WNBA. Cam Brink is one of them, and Cam Brink again is about to be a married chick. She's over there, taking these hugs, these side hugs, and she know Katie is looking at them legs. You mean to tell me her man's supposed to be like, hey, was he looking at you like that or whatever the case is? They're almost the same damn height. Well, I think Katie is a little bit taller, but Katie was definitely looking. He was starving over there. And that's a shit test. And you even tell me her man's not supposed to bring that up. Or, I mean, actually, he will probably bring it up, though. But I promise you, she will say exactly what you're saying. We're basketball players. There's nothing wrong with that. We work in the same profession.
Yeah. Look, I've been out the game for a very long time. But let me tell this story real quick. You know what? Skip the second video. We're going to keep it right here. Okay, so my last employer was Canadian. My current employer is British. So I'm picking up some international tendencies, right? So I'll go back to my last employer. I was the only male on a team full of six different financial analysts, all white women. Two of them were French Canadian, and every time they would see me, it was they kiss each other on the cheek when they see each other, and I kind of had to talk about that a little bit, like, hey, I don't get down like that because things can happen, whatever. But one of them, whenever she hugged, I'm talking about the chest is rubbing. I'm talking about a long, extensive, I don't want to let go, pick me up and carry me into the back room kind of hug. That was not what that was. Not at all.
Man,
we're gonna have to disagree on this one.
Look,
if you're saying that she can never make any physical contact with another man, you might as well convert to Muslim. She might as well convert to be a Muslim.
MC, you're being disingenuous.
No, I'm not. You're being illogical.
She walked her happy ass on the court to KD wasn't saying like, hey, Cam. She was like, KD. And they had the video all ready to go. So there's something, I'm not saying she's cheating, and I'm not saying that, they think this is probably going to be a conversation. All I'm saying is that these are the shit tests that women will put you in, and then you can't do anything about it, or you're expected to not do anything about it. Yeah, just like, yeah, thank you. She can wave and say, hey, that's it. Drive by. That's it.
That's how most wives would conduct themselves. And she's young as hell. She probably don't know how to be a wife yet.
See, but then you're proving my point, though, because they do a lot of these things that get themselves in trouble, and the man has to come up and clean that stuff, though. He ain't, look, I'm not going to put him on the Alex Fine path, but I would understand if they had a conversation related to that. I would definitely understand the discussion if something came up. But at the end of the day, this is the type of shit test that women do that I do not like, because they will put themselves in these situations. And again, Cam Brink's a gorgeous looking chick. But look, you just can't. Women have to understand they can't put themselves in these situations, though, because they're not only representing themselves, but you're representing your man. Like, the only reason I know who her man is from IG. That's it. And I'm not saying she got to plaster that dude everywhere, but I know she's about to get married, and she can't be like hugging up on these basketball players like that. And we know KD in these streets. KD ain't got. KD will knock down 10s, 9s, 8s, all the way down to 5. So if you think KD,
whoever her fiance is, TR, I mean, this is a celebrity mayor, so more than likely it ain't gonna work out anyway.
No,
this ain't regular everyday couple type shit or stuff.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think he might be a trainer or something, or works for a family business. I don't know what he does, but this is the type of shit testing that I can't co-sign on. And women nowadays don't even understand that this is a shit test, so they shouldn't be, getting close to other men like that. Like, if you are with your guy, you wouldn't want your guy doing this with another chick. Most women would not want their guy doing that. So I understand what you're saying, though, but this is the type of stuff. These are like these little things that are big deals that people don't understand in a relationship. And once the guy truly has a problem with it in most cases, but he can't really say anything because he allowed all these other shit tests to go through.
I will agree with you on this. I think as a man, it's very important you establish what your boundaries are early. So she knows and understands that, and do not ever adjust them.
Yeah.
Me personally, I don't have a problem with a 2-second hug in a picture. What I do have a problem with is if that number is saved in your phone and y'all having intimate conversations.
You don't think she got KD number?
I don't know. She might, and if she does, that's a problem for the fiance. At least if I was that fiance, I'd be like, okay, maybe I made a mistake. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this parachute cord, and I'm gonna go ahead and just glide out of here because I ain't signed up for all this.
Yeah. Anyways, man. Yeah. So, and that gives me a chance to bring up Cam Brink, though. I respect the whole marriage thing, but Cam Brink is very good looking. We should start having a segment of gorgeous looking WNBA players. I mean, it's gonna be never mind.
I'm gonna shout out this IG page, Soy Sauce Sports. If you are into what we're into, he basically goes through every WNBA team and names all the smashable chicks.
That guy.
And he actually just did the first, second, and third all smash WNBA team, and he's got some baddies on there, and some coaches too, by the way.
Might have to have a conversation with that. So anyway,
yeah, we could probably bring that up one day.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up tonight's episode. Final words, MC?
That's it for me, man. Just May is Mental Health Month, so make sure you're doing something to protect your mental health, man. Go kick the punching bags, or go ride a bike or something, man. Get some cheese or something.
I don't want to extend things, but it's funny as May is Mental Health Month, and next month is quote unquote Pride Month. So
as far as I'm concerned, June is Black Music Month. So yeah, man, I don't know about that Pride stuff.
Hey, I'm not supporting. I'm just telling you what's on the Google calendar.
Yeah, Google would have that on there.
Yeah. All right. Good night, everybody.
Peace.